for being here with me today, Susan. It's such a pleasure. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy Sunday to chat with me. How are you
Happy to
this
chat with
morning?
you. I'm good. I'm good.
Wonderful. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you came to discover clean intermittent fasting?
Yeah. Let's take it back a few months before I started. I'm from New Zealand originally, moved to the US, and I'd met my husband mid 2018.
Okay.
New relationship. He loves to cook. He's a great cook, and
Oh.
so yes, that just. I mean, I have never been slim my whole life. I've always been overweight, but over the years I've gradually dropped that weight a little bit. But at this point of time, I started going the wrong direction. And
It
so
happens.
we're all the my what became my mother-in-law and my soon to be my my sister-in-law, and we're all sitting around talking about my husband's great cooking and how we're all putting on weight and we don't know what to do about it. And
Oh,
the next day my mother-in-law said to me, I was talking to my niece and she's just started this. I read this book, Delay, Don't Deny, and this is how it works. And she told me about intermittent fasting. And I know I'd come across the term some point before in my life, like within the last year or so, but it just didn't resonate with me then in the right way.
okay.
But suddenly it just clicked with me. And I was like, this is what my body has been telling me my whole life.
Yeah.
There's so many instances in my life where it felt natural not to eat. I would get busy through the day and then suddenly it'd be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd be like, oh, I haven't eaten today. Or I'd go to the gym and it would, I'd almost feel guilty. Like I had to sneak to the gym because I didn't want to eat before I went to the gym because for
Right.
some reason my brain was saying you'll get better results if you don't eat before you go to the gym. And
That's
so,
interesting. So you
yeah,
have
and
that kind of natural instinct anyways, not to eat right away in the morning.
exactly. Well, at the same time, everything around you is saying, no, you just should be doing it the other
Sure.
way.
Sure. Breakfast is the
So,
most important meal of your day.
yeah, exactly. So you don't want to mention to anyone you're at the gym with or your trainers or anyone that you haven't actually eaten today. You just kind of,
It scares them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I literally downloaded the book on Kindle that day.
Okay.
I started reading the first few chapters. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I started that day.
Right
Um,
away.
and because it was natural to me to do it, to kind of lean towards that style of eating lifestyle,
Mhm.
um, I jumped straight into 24. I'm
Oh,
just
so you
like,
went straight in. You
I'm
didn't
just, I'm just not,
even.
yeah, I'm not going to eat tomorrow at work. I'm just going to wait till I come home and I'm going to eat. And that was it for me. Haven't looked back.
So, oh, wow, that's amazing. Usually, like
So
24 or something, you work up to a bit. And I know
yeah.
I did. That's awesome. So, how much weight have you lost with intermittent fasting?
I have lost, so that was in December 2018.
Okay.
I lost, it took me, I was a very slow loser. It's one of those turtles.
Turtles.
Ate
Yes.
about half a pound a week. So it took me about 18 months to lose about 35 pounds. Um,
Okay.
I got to, and that was, I have to admit, there was a plateau in there from about October 2019 until February 2020. I plateaued and I just wasn't at that point where I was ready to change anything else about the lifestyle, to
Right.
look at what I'm eating.
Sure.
I mean, other than the fact that like I said, my husband loves to cook. And so we do eat a lot of home cooked meals. We don't do a lot of processed foods or takeaways. I love
That's
to bake. He loves to
wonderful.
cook.
Hmm.
So between the two of us, we take care of everything.
That's wonderful. I love
Yes.
that.
So we had a very home-based eating style anyway, but I knew I needed to make a change, but I didn't have that push at that point
Right.
to
Right.
figure out what it was.
Sure.
And then I went on, we got engaged and I went to try wedding dresses on, and that is a fantastic motivator
It
for
really is. It really is.
yes. Yeah. And so I decided to um, have a little bit less of a snack when I open my window, and drop sweets. And when I say sweets, I don't mean everything sweet. I just mean baking,
Like processed sweets.
cookies. Yeah, just the more like, I didn't worry about having ketchup on my savory. I didn't go that.
Don't
Yeah,
stress
it's
over
just
the small things. Right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, I'm just going to cut out the desserts and the baking, and by it was May 31st, 2020, I hit my goal.
Wow.
So yeah, just in
Okay.
time for our wedding on was in July.
So you reached your goal before your wedding.
Yes, I
That's
did.
fantastic. Congratulations. I love
Thank
hearing
you.
that.
Thank you. And I can proudly say I love my wedding photos.
I am so happy to hear you
Yeah.
say that, because so many people look back and they're not happy with those photos, and it's so sad.
I know.
Including myself. Even though I was not at my highest weight at the time, I wasn't happy. I wasn't even happy in my own skin back then. So I think that has a lot to say. So where were you at your highest weight, and what did life look like for you back then?
Yeah, I was mid 20s when I think it was when I really hit my highest weight. I was 205, 210 pounds
Okay.
it was my highest when and I just went, I can't stay here. I've got to do something about this, but I didn't know what to do. I was traveling, living between New Zealand in the New Zealand summer, and then coming over here to work in a summer camp in the US summer.
Right.
And been working in a summer camp at that time, and it's just so uncomfortable being in that skin. It's just
Yes.
everything feels horrible. And so
It
it's like,
does.
okay, I've got to make a change. And I went back to New Zealand, and I was talking to my mum, and she had introduced the family to it was a restricted calorie diet, but it was it was a balanced diet, but it was it was restrictive. But I did lose 50 pounds. And so that was the beginning of my weight loss journey of just saying, this is enough. This is as high as I'm ever going to go. But then once I lost that 50 pounds, for the next 20 years, I would bounce up and around. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to change this to kg, because at that point I was living in New Zealand, so I don't know what I can't remember what the pounds were. I think it was about 160 to 180, but it was about 72 kgs to 82 kgs. So, just over the years, you would lose a little bit, gain a little bit, and just play that yo-yo. And I didn't really ever go on any strict diet. It was more a point of anytime I found myself in a situation, I moved from the US, doing that between New Zealand and the US, and then lived in London for a few years. And just anytime I found myself in a routine, in an office job, working 9 to 5, it was the 3 meals. Okay, time to get healthy. I'm going to do 3 meals a day. I've never been a 6-meal eater. This 3 meals is more than enough. And that was always a struggle for me. So whenever I'd get into that routine, though, the weight would come on.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm trying to be healthy. Why is this not working?
It's frustrating.
Yeah. And then I'd make a move, I'd make a change. Whatever I was doing, I'd get out of that 9 to 5 routine. And so I wasn't thinking breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I'd start dropping the right weight. But it never occurred to me why that was happening, because it wasn't a concept then.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were just doing what we were told to do by the weight loss industry and the health industry to get healthy, so to speak. But unfortunately, they failed us all. So here we are, and we're getting the word out. And it's really important that we do. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to you. So you said your husband is a really fantastic cook. I'm extremely jealous, because my husband can only scramble eggs. I tell you, I'm not even kidding. Does he also fast with you?
Well, that's an interesting story because for 3 years he didn't.
Okay.
He absolutely supported me, was 100% behind me. Um, I'd come home if I was before the pandemic, I'd come home and he'd have my snack. If he got home before me, he'd put some cheese and crackers out or something. He was very much supportive of it. But he just was like, I couldn't ever do that. I understand the concept. I understand the why it works. He would actually rave about intermittent fasting to anyone else before I could even open my mouth. He was that supportive of it.
But he refuses to try,
He
huh?
couldn't do it. November 21st, 2021. 5 months ago, 5 months ago, he suddenly decided he needed to make a change for his health.
Wow.
And that was because I have a small group of friends that I support for intermittent fasting on Facebook.
Wonderful.
And I'd started this to help support that group. I'd started this website of successful intermittent fasting stories, and he had read, because I never really had any health issues that he could understand. I had woman's stuff, but not anything he could understand as a man.
Sure.
My story, my journey didn't really click with him. But then he read one of the stories of a friend in our group, and he just went, if all of this stuff could happen to her, it could work for me too. And so just like literally on the Tuesday, he said, I'm thinking of starting intermittent fasting on Monday. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not going to push it. That's great.
Yeah.
You don't want to, push it too much. And then Sunday he sent me a really cryptic message. He works 6 Sundays to Fridays. So he sent me this really cryptic message from work. And I can't remember what the message was, but I didn't quite get what he was meaning until he got home, and he was bouncing off the walls. And he said, I did it. I went 20 hours. I fasted
Oh my
for 20 hours,
goodness.
and
Wow.
I feel amazing. And he's literally spent the night bouncing off the walls from all the energy he had from his first day of intermittent fasting.
So is he hooked now?
He was absolutely hooked. He's lost, as of yesterday, 46 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
He has
way to go to him.
Yeah. He was in a major car accident about 7 years ago. He was also a baseball player in his college years. So he one of his shoulders from baseball he injured, and then the other arm he completely had to have it rebuilt from the car accident. So he has two rods and a bar in there, and so he was always told by his surgeon he wouldn't be able to do his tie, drink with that hand, touch his head, put deodorant on, anything that required movement, extreme movement of those. He pretty much lost a lot of his mobility with that arm, and his hand constantly had cramps, and he was just so inflamed. His ankles were all swollen. Within 3 days, his swelling in his ankles had gone. Within 3 weeks, the swelling in his arm was going down. I think it was about a month. He could touch his head for the first time since the accident. He suddenly found himself drinking with his hand. One day, randomly went to grab his cup and realized he was using a hand he hadn't been able to use. He's a different man.
I am totally blown away right now. Like I've heard of so much amazing healing with intermittent fasting, but that is new, and that is wonderful.
And he lost a lot of his loves when he had that, when he was rear-ended, when he had that car accident, and he was always like, I can never do this again. I can never go golfing again, because he would have to change his whole golf swing, and then even could he do it? And now suddenly he's, those are things he's interested in. He's like, oh, maybe I could go and do this.
He's been given his life back. How wonderful. I'm so proud of him. So, I mean, I know that's just absolutely amazing. Give him a huge high five for me, because that is so cool. I love that. I'd love to have him on the show one day and really dive into his story as well, because I'm sure he would inspire a lot of people too. This is just, it's a cycle of inspiration. It really is. So Susan, do you do you use a timer to keep yourself accountable? I know you have your group, you have a Facebook group yourself, or do you have,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
do? Okay.
Hmm.
So that, I know that I have a Facebook group also, and they inspire me and they keep me accountable. But do you have any other ways that you would like to keep accountable for yourself, for your own journey? Do you use a timer, a journal? What do you do?
Yeah. I've never used a timer. Work has always been my timer. The alertness that intermittent fasting, the clarity, the ability to be able to get so much more done in the afternoon. I work on a computer all day, and that can be really draining when
Yes.
you're concentrating on the monitor all day.
Yes, it can.
And to be able to get so much more done because I have the afternoon back is enough to like, I don't ever want to break that. So even though I've been in maintenance for about 2 years,
Right.
I still keep to the 24
I was going to ask you,
to
do you still
19.5.
keep to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Every
just
day.
because of I don't want to break my fast until after work because I don't want to lose that focus.
So your working hours are your fasting hours.
Exactly. Yeah.
Simple.
And so,
Easy.
and when I finish work, I work from home now. My husband comes home and we break our fast together. And that's just our routine.
How wonderful. And now he can break his fast with you.
Yes. Yeah. And so I've never needed a timer because I've always just worked on that. I don't really keep a journal. My journey since intermittent fasting has been more of a one of independent, well, changes to strengthen my inner self, the knowledge. I mean, when I look back, I've done some really amazing things in my life, and I've lived a life that a lot of people would love to live, all while being overweight and very dysfunctional thinking, as you know, around
Diet
myself
brain.
and my body,
Mm-hmm.
and how I thought I portrayed myself to other people,
Mm-hmm.
because who could love me, who could see me if I couldn't do that myself? Because everything had to wait until I lost weight. And it, thankfully I had met my husband before I did this journey, so he's always assuring me that he loved me before. And I wasn't, like, when I look back, I wasn't extremely overweight. I was in the overweight category, but just this journey to know that I finally achieved that lifetime goal of getting to a weight loss, a weight that I'm happy with. I feel so healthy, the healthiest I've ever been in my life. I that goal, that achievement has encouraged me to push and make other changes to life and myself and where I can go.
That's
So
so wonderful to hear. I hear that a lot, and it really is encouraging, because it's not only helping us with our physical health, it's helping with our mental clarity and our motivation factor, and helping others is what we're here to do, including yourself. You started a website called intermittent fasting
yes.
success.com, correct?
Yeah.
And share with us a little bit about your website.
Yeah, I was, well, the group started, I'd always put off starting a Facebook group because I wanted, if any of my friends or anyone wanted to join, there's Jen's group. I'll just send them, everyone's there, just send them there. And then around May last year, Jen had left Facebook.
Yeah,
And I
Jen
was
said
listening.
goodbye.
Yeah, and I've been listening to all of her podcasts. I'm up to date with all of the podcasts, and I was like, I just suddenly thought, heard Jen talking about how she wanted people to start their own communities, and it just suddenly clicked with me that maybe this is my time, that I can now create that group to support my friends. It wasn't about growing it was just to support those people who wanted to do this journey with me.
That's
And so
wonderful. Mm-hmm.
I put it out, I post out for my on my personal page, Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also run a group of Kiwis, New Zealanders who live in the US.
Okay.
And so one of my other admins shared it on there as well. So between the two groups, I had about 100 people join within about 24 hours.
Wow.
And so every every day I make a post, just an inspirational post, something I've learned, some podcast I've come across, a Jason Fung video.
Mhm.
It's just something that's inspirational
Something.
to because I always found that understanding the process and why I'm doing it helps me on the journey. So just kind of little prompts to be able to develop that for those people in my group. And I was looking for success stories because I know how important it is to see others succeeding, to be able to inspire people on their own journey. And there's nothing out there. If you do a search for intermittent fasting stories,
Mhm.
there's a podcast, but there's nothing visual, nothing you can click on
Right.
other than news sites.
Right. Or
And
joining a group and maybe
or
you're not sure yet and you're just
yeah,
looking. Sure.
yeah. And so I just wanted to be able to well, it's, again, one of those inspirational moments where I'm a web developer. This could be the place where I could support the community. I don't,
Wonderful.
yeah,
I
I
love
mean,
it.
all I need is hosting, set up the domain. I'm good to do everything else.
And so you have a new like featured guest every week, or how do you work that?
I try to. I'm not pushing pressure on myself.
Mhm.
I put a lot of feeders out there into the community, trying to get those stories in. So I'm putting them up as I can each week as I get them in. I'm still building that repertoire.
Mhm.
But if anyone's out there and wants to tell their stories, the site's set up so that each story has its own individual page, so that people can then share their own individual story with groups or wherever they want to share it. Everything on there is about their story, any podcasts they've been on. It's not to support any one group or organization. It's just to share it for everyone in the community, and any resource that we can put on there to help others along their journey.
Real life
Happening.
stories to get it
Real
out
life
there.
stories and real life ways they've used and things they've used to help them on their journey.
I love that you have such a passion for helping, because community is so very important in this lifestyle. It's what keeps us going, especially for me. It's what inspired me to even start in the first place. So the fact that there is a website out there that people can go to read these success stories before they even start or think about starting is outstanding. So thank you so much for doing that, because I know it takes a lot of time and energy, and you know it's very important that somebody steps up and does it. And so I just hope it continues. um so you stick to 24 still. Did you change your eating habits from the beginning of your journey? I'm going to just turn it around a little bit here.
Mhm.
um did you change it from the beginning of your journey, or have you not changed your eating habits at all? What does your typical diet in your eating window look like for Susan?
Yeah, we haven't changed it too much as far as what we eat, but we eat better quality, especially now that Carl is intermittent fasting as well. Our food, not that he ate a lot before, but just there's been a drastic reduction in
Yeah,
the amount of food we've had to buy. In fact,
saving a lot of money.
yeah, and in fact, we have a problem of we have too much food. It's looking like we're constantly adding something else back to the into the freezer just because we can't get through it all. And he's still working out portion control. Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but definitely a higher quality food. We eh, and we've even, not that we, like I said, we didn't eat out a lot or order in a lot of takeaways
Mhm,
before, but
mhm.
now things just don't taste as good, even the things we used to eat. So
You become
um,
somewhat of a food snob, right?
oh, very much so, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's just, we're allowing ourselves to just enjoy those high quality foods, not worrying so much about the food budget. Because if we we were having a conversation yesterday about venison, that's
Hmm.
from New Zealand, and my husband wants to try it. He loves venison, and there's a company here that has it. So it's like, well, let's get some and try some. But
Yum.
and just go on a conversation about how great being able to have those high quality foods
So
mean what
nothing's
it means to us.
restricted. Nothing's off the table.
Nothing's restricted. In fact, just this morning I started making a pie. I love to
Yeah. What
bake.
kind of pie?
Marlboro pie.
Oh,
I
that sounds
love trying.
fantastic.
I've never made it before, but when we moved in together, my husband introduced me to America's Test Kitchen, and I have ordered all their books, and I'm just making my way through all of their recipes. And
How fun.
yeah, it's just so much fun to be able to enjoy it. I mean, we don't eat a lot. I'll make a batch of cookies, and we may have a cookie each. And
Okay.
but we're not like, we don't feel like we need to eat the whole
The whole
container.
bag. Yeah.
We just have one, enjoy it, yum, move on. Yeah, it's just I
Did you
lost
find
that
yourself
sense.
eating like the whole bag of cookies or the whole container of whatever it was before fasting? Or have
No,
you
I've
found
never.
yourself gaining control now?
Yeah, I've never been one who has,
Okay.
needed to eat the whole bag of
Hmm.
chips, or I can.
Right.
I've always been one who's been I can have a few cookies or a cookie and then go, okay, it doesn't taste as good now,
Right.
so I can
Okay.
stop. So I'm
Yeah.
never had to fight that battle.
I love that you don't restrict anything and you're completely open to anything, but quality is really important. Like we were saying, you kind of become a food snob with fasting. It was a long process. It didn't happen off the instant, but I feel like now quality is above everything when it
Mhm.
comes to anything. So one thing I like to ask is about exercise. When you were in your journey to lose the weight in, in the beginning months, did you exercise then and do you exercise now?
I I walk for about 30 minutes a day.
Okay.
That's about all the exercise I do. Just I used to, in fact, when I was overweight, I used to run half marathons and 5Ks and 10Ks. And I when I moved here to the US, I had great intentions of continuing that and never really did. And I just I'm waiting for it to kick in. But I just really got to enjoy just going for a walk. I put my podcast on. It's the time of day when I can catch up on my podcasts, and I
Yeah.
just go out there and I walk fast. I don't stroll, but yeah, that's my time for getting out there in the fresh air.
Walking is wonderful. It's such a
Yeah.
wonderful way to get your body moving and get the blood flowing. I personally love walking. It's
Hmm.
really the only thing I do now, besides some like strength training a little bit here and there. So we like to talk about non-scale victories. It's my favorite subject in intermittent fasting. Tell us some of yours.
Yeah. The first one would have to be inflammation. As far as in 2011, I was diagnosed with a massive fibroid, and ended up having to have surgery to have
Oh
it
my goodness.
removed. They gave me a 20% chance of being able to save my uterus. The surgeon performed a miracle and
Wow.
did manage to remove the fibroid. But because of, there's still other fibroids in there. Because of that, I've always had inflammation my whole life. Um, Leading up to a period, it would be 2 weeks of menstrual pain,
Mm.
and that just dramatically reduced to the day of now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just completely, it's not even an issue anymore. That it was a major change, and
That's
just
huge.
regulated. Yeah,
It takes over
uh,
your life.
it does. You have 1 week every month where you actually feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was amazing. Just health wise, just feeling so much better, feeling so much more alert. I had a toenail fungus on one foot. I couldn't even at the end of when I reached my goal, I couldn't get rid of it, and I really wanted to get rid of it for what was supposed to be our second wedding, because we got married in the pandemic. So
Yeah.
so we were, but of course the pandemic is still ongoing, so we never haven't got to that yet. But I wanted to get rid of it before I had the big wedding. And so my doctor finally convinced me to go on medication.
Mhm.
And I am one of those people who always gets the rare side effect on any medication I go on.
Yeah.
And there was a
Oh.
0.06% chance of losing or distorting taste from this medication. And 5 weeks after I started taking it, I lost all taste.
Well, that
My
must have been
weight.
scary.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't lose all taste, just everything, the everything I ate, the taste was distorted. So even hot water tasted like the most vile. So actually I would have preferred to lose my taste.
How strange.
I dropped 10 pounds within a few weeks.
I bet.
And I was already at goal. So I couldn't afford really to lose those
Right.
10 pounds. But so I worked it out, just happened to be talking to a friend. She said, well, you know that there's a side effect of this medication. Or my mum, she was saying her mum was on a medication that caused that side effect, and it just happened to be the same medication.
Oh my.
And she only found out, it's so rare. My doctor refused to even acknowledge that it was an issue, that it could have been that. And I took myself off the medication.
Good for you.
I was supposed to be on it for a year. I was on it for 5 weeks. But bringing that long story back was, so even though I was supposed to be on it for a year to get rid of this toenail fungus, 5 weeks was enough. I swear
And
with
now
the
it's
intermittent
gone.
fasting, it was gone. It was just needed that
Outstanding.
little extra knock to completely clear it out of my system, and it's gone.
That is
So
so wonderful.
as horrific as it was, it's horrible as it was to have my taste completely distorted, and it took 3 months for it to come back.
Wow.
I have finally got rid of an issue that was plaguing me for 20 years, since I was traveling around Europe. Yeah.
It's so incredible, the things that we don't even realize are holding us back, like a toenail fungus. It's just something that could really plague your vacation or
And
anything. It's just like
never
it,
want to wear open-toed shoes.
right. And it's like, come on
If
now.
Yeah, every
Right.
time you go near your toenails, it's just, yeah, you need to keep everything
It
clean
adds
and
a
make sure
layer
you
to
don't.
your newfound confidence with your new body. I mean, you could wear
Yes,
flip-flops and sandals.
exactly. It's just been, I
Hooray.
can't wait for the summer months to come so that I could put flip-flops on for the first time in
You could
20
come
years.
down here to Florida. You can wear flip-flops 12 months out of the year. Unless you're me, and no, I'm always got socks on. I'm just always cold. So we're going to bring this back and kind of bring it all together. So you're now in maintenance, you're strolling along the maintenance road. When you got to maintenance, what did that look like? Some people get to maintenance, I know I did, and it was kind of scary for me. I didn't know what I was going to do because I didn't know if I was going to stay with my same schedule or not. Did you deviate from your schedule a bit when you got to goal?
No, I didn't, simply because work was always that timeline, and work was still there.
I love that. And it's a great tip
That
for anybody, is that stick
Yeah,
to your work schedule if it's feasible for your fasting hours.
exactly. And that, because it just continued.
Mhm.
I guess when I got to maintenance, the biggest thing was just trusting that it wasn't going to yo-yo like all the other times, just trusting that it was just going to be the way
Trusting
it
it.
always was.
Right. And I
It
think
always
we
is
all have
now.
that,
Yeah.
I know I always think, oh, well, second guessing myself. But with fasting, I think we can all have that confidence that even if we
Mhm.
derail a little bit and, maybe extend our eating windows because we feel our body needs that for one day or whatever it is, how long, when you get back to your fasting protocol, what happens? It's like
You just carry on.
you
In
carry
fact,
on, right? And
yeah.
really your weight just goes right back, and it's just such a blessing.
And generally, on those occasions where I have broken my fast early for any particular reason, um, it makes you realize why you fast. So it's so much easier to jump back on and just go
You
back
become
to,
so grateful for it.
yes, to just feel how you feel is, you don't want to lose that feeling.
No,
So
I never do either. And I hope that we can inspire just one person today with your story. Thank you so much, Susan. I really appreciate your time today. And have a wonderful Sunday afternoon with your husband. I hope he cooks you something yummy for your meal today.
I hope so too. I don't know what's on the menu, but I'll find out later.
I'm so jealous. That's amazing. Thank you, Susan, so much. I appreciate you.
Lovely to chat with you, Michelle.
Lovely chatting with you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful
You
afternoon.
too.